All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network with me, your host, Josh Reeves. This is the Tuesday, July 28th edition of the broadcast. We got a lot of news and whatnot to talk about with you here tonight. Lots of topics to get into as usual, so thank you so much for being with us. TheGlobalReality.com is my website, TheGlobalReality.com. You'll find all of the things you need to find there pertaining to all of my work at that website, from our videos. And in case you didn't know it, I feel the need to say this every episode. I am a documentary filmmaker. Sometimes I think people forget that. At least I feel like they do, because we don't sell very many videos, and I think we should sell way more videos than we do, because my films, if you really want to see where all my info is packed into, it's into the films. I pack a lot of info in these things. So at my website, theglobalreality.com, in case you didn't know, because we have new listeners all the time, you can go there and purchase not only DVDs and Blu-rays, all my films are up there for sale. You can also get downloads of all my films, from 9/11 New World Rising to the Secret Right Volume 1, Secret Right Volume 2. If you haven't seen those films, do yourself a favor and go get yourself some downloads of those. The copies and whatnot that are on YouTube are crap. Pure crap. The ones that are on the download store have been digitally remastered in full HD, high def, which they weren't before when they first came out. Volume 2 has been fixed and corrected. All the problems that were wrong with the first one, the clicking audio, all that stuff's been corrected. It looks and sounds now the way it should have when it first came out. And you can also get my Secret Right films, Volume 1 and Volume 2 up there. We also have all kinds of audiobooks there in the audiobook shop. A lot of people, if you go look online, see how many views like Lost Book Inky's had. It's had, 300,000 or 400,000. Emerald Tablets of Thoth, I think, is close to that. But, and look, I'm all about, downloading people's stuff and whatnot, but like if a band comes out with a record that I like and I download it and I get it for free and I really like it, I go and buy the vinyl, or I go and buy, a download or something. If you really like somebody's work, and I've got so much feedback on those things, you should support the person by, especially if you got something for free, even if you've already heard it. I've done that. I'll listen to somebody's record. I've already heard it, but if it's good and I want to support them, want to see them do more, I'll go and buy, a copy of it. So if you heard, Lost Book of Inky or something you like that, go buy a download of it. Go buy, if you saw Secret Right online, go get yourself a download of that. The Secret Right downloads I think are only like $10 each or something. So, get yourself an HD quality version. If you only watched a YouTube version, hell, go buy a download and burn that sucker on a disc and watch it on your big TV. It's way better. Going to be way better than watching it on that little computer screen, Anyway, I don't feel like I promote my movies enough. It's not something I just remember to do. There's so much stuff to talk about, and I hardly ever remember to talk about everything. So, yeah, definitely go and get yourself a download, be it a film download or audiobook download. But don't neglect our material, and pass it on to other people as well. Because I work hard and put a lot into this stuff, and it's frustrating when we don't get near what we put into it back, especially with the films and stuff. Like the Secret Right Volume 2, I think that was just a criminally not the Secret Right Volume 2, the Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 2, which I put out last year. I think that was a criminally underviewed film. And it's really meant to be a companion piece with the first one. So I still get people who will download. I see it out because I go and check the records. I see people they'll download a Volume 2, but they, I've never seen Volume 1, and they're really supposed to be companion pieces because I don't bother going back and explaining, certain things to you. But there's lots of things in Volume 2 that tie in with the things in Volume 1, but you need to have seen Volume 1 first to really have gotten that. So, also there in our download shop, you'll find my newest audiobook that we just put up 2 days ago, Our Story of Atlantis. And you know, I hate to harp on this, but I have to bring this up because this is an endless source of my frustration. And if I could find a way to end this source of frustration, it would fix all of our problems. Here's, I don't think I've gotten across to people enough this problem and this situation, so I'm going to put it across to you. It's been exactly 48 hours. I guess 48 hours about an hour ago, so 49 hours at this point. It's been exactly 49 hours since I put up the Our Story of Atlantis audiobook preview on YouTube. So it's been up for a little over 2 days. So far, that 15-minute preview of the 6+ hour audiobook that is now on sale at my website, in case you didn't get that and see that in the video, has gotten 249 views. But we've sold 5 downloads. And you can't understand how immensely frustrating that is for me, especially when we have operating costs, they're hanging in the balance we have to pay this week. And if we don't get the money to have paid, we don't continue and game is over. And I look at that and I go, if every one of those 249 people, let me break it down for you so you understand, in case you don't understand my source of frustration as far as this is concerned. 249 people liked that video enough to watch it, or interested enough in it to watch it. But only 5 of those people were interested enough to purchase a download. Had all 249 of those people actually bought a download, to put this in perspective for you and show you why I'm frustrated, we would have enough money to cover the operating costs this month. We would have enough money to cover the operating costs for next month. And we would have enough money to finish my new film, The Spellcasters. Do you understand why I'm so frustrated? And that's only 249 views because it's only been up 2 days. I mean, I put that Tsarian video up on the 24th, and it's already had 687 views. I mean, we have tons and tons of views on our videos constantly. And, I worked extremely hard on that audiobook. I took time out of my other stuff to do it and get it up because I've had so many requests for more audiobooks. It's the biggest thing I get the request for. But I don't like doing them in the context of the show anymore, because I like the show and the audiobooks to be 2 separate things now. I don't want to do audiobooks on air. I don't want to do them during the show, because we always end up starting something and not finishing it, and it's hard, because it's hard for me to do them but if I can sit down in a couple of days and take a couple of days out, 2 or 3 days and work, solid all the way all day and all night, like I did the other day. And then I release it, and then we get tons and tons of views. I mean, we started getting views on that sucker immediately. We got 249 views as of right now, and yet we've sold 5. And yet you wonder why I have to get up here and tell you to support our work. If you would buy this stuff, just buy what I put out, buy a $10 download, and all of you that watch that would buy a $10 download, we wouldn't have to worry about anything. This is what's so frustrating. So if you're one of the 249 people who watch that video, go and buy a fucking $10 download. Come on, you can afford a $10 download. It's not going to break the bank. Do without your fucking beer or liquor or whatever you fucking do, you fucking alky. Do without it for one fucking night. Jeez Louise. It's frustrating, and I'm not going to just hold it in and not get up here. If this is my show, I'm not going to get up here and not be frustrated about it. I'm fucking frustrated about it. Because I look at this and I go, all it would take is for all those people that watch that video to go buy a download. You're going to get 6 or so hours of audio. It's an amazing, incredible internal secret society book with some just mind-blowing stuff in it. And I worked extremely hard on it. And, if that's going to be, I don't know. I've tried now for many years to get grasp of stuff and understand. I just don't get it. It's the same thing with, like the Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 1. We put out this sneak peek teaser trailer or something, and it's had, I'm going to look, see how many views it's had. Just 1 second here. 24,607 views. Now, did we sell 24,000 copies of that film? Not even close. If we would have sold 24,000 copies of that film, we wouldn't have to ever worry about anything ever again. But yet we spent 50 grand or something making that movie and 40 grand or 50 grand making the second one. And that we don't even make enough back to make the next movie. I mean, that's an unsustainable model. But yet, people are still watching my videos. People are still asking me to be guests. I probably turn down 5 interviews a week because I just don't have time. People are still asking me to do interviews. I get asked to do these TV things. I got more offers coming in for that. So, again, this that's why I'm frustrated. Oh, look at that. We got another another view on the Atlantis thing since we've been sitting here talking. So it's up to 250 now. So again, if all 250 of those people just simply bought a $10 download, we could pay the operating cost this month, next month, and we could have enough money to finish the film. But yet we get 5 out of those 250. I mean, and I know most of those people are sitting around thinking that I'll put it out for free or something. I'm not going to put it out for free. If you're holding out, not buying films or not buying stuff, thinking eventually I'll just put it out for free, you can stop waiting because I'm not going to do it. And if you get caught putting my shit up, I'm coming after you. That's all it is. All there is to it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating. I mean, I really thought that, because people are, constantly asking me for more audiobooks, more content, this, that, and the other. And so, every time I comply, it's the same thing. For years, I heard people said, "Oh, I don't want to pay with PayPal, or I don't want to contribute with PayPal." And every time I would come up with an alternative, they would still have an excuse. So that's when you see people are just full of shit. Most people are. So prove you're not one of those full of shit people and go and get yourself a download. But for years, I had people say, "Oh, get a P.O. box. We have a P.O. box. You'll get inundated with thousands of dollars." We had a P.O. box going for a couple of years, and we didn't even get enough in on a regular basis to even afford to keep it open. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then other people say, "Oh, I don't use PayPal, I don't do this, I don't use a credit card, I don't use a bank." Okay, I have a solution for you. You do? Yes, I do. You want to hear it? Take your cash, go to a drugstore or grocery store, pretty much anywhere now. Walmart, Target, pretty much anywhere you can get a prepaid card that works just like a credit card. It's a number that you can then send me the number for. You put the amount you want to contribute or how much you want to spend on. Because, if you want to buy downloads, you can do it that way too. If you want to buy downloads of the movies or downloads of audiobooks or make a donation and you don't have a credit card, don't want to use PayPal, you can get a prepaid card, put it however much you want on there. Tell me what downloads you want. Give me all I need is a valid email address and the card number and information. I could charge that card and type it in manually to my PayPal thing. It won't have your personal information or anything on it. It'll be completely anonymous. And you can get downloads and make a contribution. You don't have to have PayPal or a bank account or anything to do it. And then they'll still come up with excuses. So, that's the frustrating thing. Again, people, if people didn't want my work and they didn't want what I do, I go do something else. But the amount of listeners and listenership that we have and the amount of emails we get on a regular basis here, it's insane. I mean, by all accounts, I should be rolling in the dough, but we barely survive and barely scrape by it month to month. But speaking of which, we have a contest going on this week for the operating costs, which we have to have all the money for by Friday. Whoever contributes the largest amount to our July 2015 operating costs goal, which you can find by going to my website, theglobalreality.com, and there's a banner on the right-hand side. It has a little picture of me in front of a camera at the Serpent Mound there. And That's where you can make your contribution. But you can go to our Global Reality Radio Network Facebook page, and you can see what you'll get in our contest grand prize pack. If you win, you will receive a Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 1 signed DVD, a rare, super rare 10 hours through the fucking desert one-way rare Libyan desert glass. If you don't know what Libyan desert glass is, it's pretty awesome. There's a couple of good documentaries about it. Libyan desert glass is very interesting. It's actually not found in Libya, but it's found in Egypt, very near the pyramids. And it's an anomaly because they really don't know how it formed. They call it a tektite. It's really not a tektite. It's this yellowish, greenish material. The Egyptians knew it was special because the Egyptians, there's a headdress of Tutankhamun, and it has a scarab beetle in the middle of it that looks like it's laser cut. It's smooth, polished out of this Libyan, this desert glass. The reason why they don't know really how it formed is because it's almost like vitrified sand. You know, it's like sand that's turned to glass. But it's not. It can't be technically classified as a meteorite or a tektite because there is no impact crater. They've done ground penetrating radar and every kind of analysis you can do in the area where this was found, but there's no impact crater. All they know is that something heated that area to such a degree it turned the sand to this yellow glassy material that's chock full of iridium. Now we know that iridium comes from primarily meteorite sources. So this has led people who've done analysis on this stuff to say, okay, well, obviously this had to have come from a meteorite, but yet there is no meteorite fragments. There is no impact crater. And I believe it's because that whole area that was now desert was ocean at the time. And the reason there wasn't an impact crater is because it hit on water, you know, which all went rushing to other places or something after that. Anyway, this stuff is super hard to get, super rare, super amazing, powerful. Anyway, you get a big, nice chunk of that, a piece of black tourmaline, a black obsidian arrowhead, an Anasazi pottery shard from 559 to 725 AD, a tangerine Lemurian quartz crystal, and a black Tibetan meteorite, plus a 1-year archive, 128K high-quality members archive subscription, and a download of your choice from the download store. 2 runners-up will receive 1-year archive access and a free download from the download store. So get in there and get your contributions in now. And whoever is the highest contributor by midnight on Friday, we will announce on the show Friday night, Saturday morning, however you want to look at it. So please go there and help us reach our goal, folks, so we can stay alive. Again, as I said before, it'd be much easier if all 250 people who watched that 15-minute preview would just go and buy a $10 download. Then we'd be so gravy for the next. We wouldn't have to worry about anything for the next 2 months, and I could get the film done. Think about that. All it takes is I look at the numbers. I look at how many people have been listening to the show a day, and it's well over 250. Well over that. A few thousand, actually. So all of that would require for us to be able to fund this broadcast for the next 2 months and finish what's going to be my best film yet would be for 250 of the thousands of you that listen to go buy a simple $10 download. That's all I'm asking here, folks. All right. So I want to give you an update. Oh, I also wanted to mention, don't forget, you can also get a membership to our 128K archives there by subscribing at the top of the page, or you subscribe there. Get yourself a membership so you can get the shows first and get them in high quality and all that. I did some checking. I told you I would last night's show, back on the underwater car thing, looking more into that story, that crazy story of the alien-human hybrid guy. I have to say, in summation, after looking more into the story, while it is, it's definitely possible, and I say that that's possible because really anything is possible. I mean, but what's possible is not always what's true. But it is possible that that guy was, truly an alien human hybrid. But it's also, I think, a lot more possible that that's just what the fuck he told, his woman and her family and whatnot. I don't doubt this guy was into some secret stuff, and I don't doubt. I think he was probably, a CIA asset. I think he was probably working for some intelligence group, one of those, disavow any knowledge of your existence or association with us if anybody ever finds out type things. And I think just to have to tell his girlfriend of 17, 18 years, however long, and her family or whatever, because, they were all wanting to know what he did. Because that just it just seems like something someone in the intelligence community would say. I don't know. I have my doubts this guy was really an alien human hybrid, but he could have been. But I think it's probably more likely some guy was some kind of clandestine operator for the Central Intelligence Agency. But what's strange, still the underwater car thing, to me, that's the story. That's the whole story. I mean, I went and checked on this and looked at multiple sources, and shit you not, the cops, the police there, with a straight face, are saying it's admitted in their evidence that they found a Toyota SUV capable of driving underwater. And so I told you last night, maybe I'm living under a rock. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention. It's very possible. But as far as I know, we don't have anything like that. I went and looked into it. There was one company I found that produced, I think, like one prototype back in 2013. And it was like $1.5 million for this prototype. 75 miles per hour on land and a whopping 1.9 miles per hour underwater. I mean, what's the point? I don't see the point. What is the point of having a car that can go underwater if you can only go 1.9 mile an hour under the water? I don't see it. Unless you're trying to go to an underground tunnel system that leads to some sort of, an underground base or something that you can only access through the water, which, we know for a fact exists all over the world. Catalina Island, there's some of those in some of the Middle East. But that to me is the whole story there. If anybody can get to the bottom, I want to know what's going to happen to that underwater driving Toyota SUV. What are they going to do with that thing? That's the story. Somebody needs to do coverage on just that thing. Where is it going to go? The police going to take it to an impound? What's going to happen to it? Because to me, that seems like, didn't James Bond had a car like that, didn't he? Wasn't it like The Spy Who Loved Me or one of those movies? James Bond had a car that, could drive underwater. Remember that? So that's what it made me think of immediately. That's why I was like, yeah, this guy's probably some kind of spy. Working for some, intelligence outfit. And that would explain why he's got the underwater car. I mean, I wonder what Toyota has to say about this. Don't you think Toyota's probably like would want one of themselves so they could see how it was made and put it together? Because the company I read that made the one prototype, again, it cost them millions of dollars to make this one model. So they only made one model. They only made one prototype. So that alone tells you right there that, this guy obviously had large amounts of funding from somewhere. And usually the only places that are providing that kind of funding with that kind of hardware are intelligence agencies. So yeah, that's my final summation on that thing. Possible he was an alien human hybrid, but I think a lot more possible that he was an intelligent asset. And I think he may have even told, his girlfriend, look, if anything ever happens to me, just tell him I'm an alien. Don't tell him anything else. I don't know. All right, let's see what we got here. Archaeologists find very significant 4,000-year-old home in Ohio. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Ohio is chock full of stuff. One tribe lived in Ohio so long ago that we don't even have a name for them. Archaeologists recently uncovered one of their 4,000-year-old homes in Lorain County and say it belonged to hunter-gatherers who visit periodically during the fall and winter. There's nothing like this anywhere in Ohio, says team leader Brian Redmond. It's very significant. We have no idea what they called themselves or what language they spoke. What archaeology tells us, they lived in a wigwam-style U-shaped home where hickory saplings were placed in post holes along the perimeter and tied together, then covered with several cattail mats. In other words, it was long-term and rather comfortable by late Archaic period standards. There also were cooking pits, storage holds for hickory nuts, and a shallow clay basin that captured Redmond's imagination. It was found with a primitive bone tool and deer ankle bone inside, but the purpose of the construction remains a mystery. And, you know, this is, I'm sure this is your, you know, your remnants of your pre-Native American, quote unquote, mound builder type people that we've discussed many times here. I got several emails. Look, if you send me an email, I got it. You know, you don't have to send it to me 18 fucking times and send it to me on Facebook and send it to me on YouTube. Send it to me, I got it. I don't always acknowledge you. I don't always send you an email back. But I had somebody who just kept sending me this thing, and I was like, buddy, I got it. Finally sent him an email and said, yeah, I got it, thank you. And it was this, some kind of standing Stonehenge type thing, like that somebody built. It was, you know, not ancient or anything by any means, built by somebody in the modern times, but it's in East Texas, near Gilmer, Texas. Just type Standing Stones, Gilmer, Texas, and there's like one video that some people trespassed to get because it's on private property, and this guy kept, you know, sending me this and 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 sending me this. So finally, I took a look into it, and as soon as he told me it's on private property, I'm like, well, I'm done. I mean, if it's on private property, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, it's interesting, I guess. But it's obviously been made sometime recently, and he says in the video that he talked to some old codger who told him that back in the late 70s he saw some like Chinook military helicopters carrying something out towards that way, and they think that's what it was. But there's these big giant granite stones. They're huge and they're tall, and they're aligned north, south, east, west, and all this. And he said that people do satanic rituals and the Klan does stuff out there. You know, I don't know. To me, I don't know that there's anything special about it. It's not, you know, it's not ancient. It's not some ancient site. You can tell whether the stones were quarried with modern machinery. But, you know, it's just something some rich dudes did so they could go out there and do their, so probably some rich oil. There's a lot of oil money around that area. Probably some, you know, rich oil guys did that so they could go out there and do their black magic rituals. But, the people that made this video, I think, are just fucking retarded. You'll get what I mean when you watch it. Number one, they're trespassing. That's just the big fucking no-no. You don't trespass. I refuse to trespass on somebody's property just to get video footage or see something. I'm not going to do it. And not because I'm some fucking pussy or something. I don't give a fuck. I'll do whatever. But I'm not interested in breaking the law for this kind of stuff because I think, in my opinion, when you do that, you are reducing yourself to the same level as the criminals that are running this thing, you know? So I'm just not interested in doing that myself. Not only that, I'll tell you another reason, the main reason I'm not interested more than anything. I'm not interested in getting shot. I mean, fuck going to jail for trespassing. In Texas, if you didn't know, and I don't know if the person who sent me the video is from Texas or not, but in case you didn't know this, if somebody trespasses on your land in the state of Tejas, You can shoot them dead, no questions asked. And, I'd rather just go up and give somebody a $100 bill and go, can I go out on your property for 20 minutes and take some fucking video, and I'm not going to bother anything. You can go out there and hold my hand while I do it, and then I'll be out of your hair. 98% of the time, that works. They say, okay, go ahead, do what you want. I don't care. Go. The worst they can do is say no, but, grease the skids a little bit. Go and say, look, we're not going to mess with anything. We just want to go out and see this. Look us up. So, that said, because I mean, yes, there are Texas. I mean, think about how many ancient sites there are in Texas that you can actually go and visit. Not many. I'm struggling to think of an ancient. I can only think of one, the Caddo Mounds, which are not far from where this site is. Actually, they're in East Texas as well. I haven't gone to that site yet, which is strange because a lot of my family on my dad's side lives right down there near where they're at. I've driven through there a lot when I was a kid, but I never actually went to the park and went and got pictures of these mounds or anything. But there are tons of mounds down there. But as far as like state parks and stuff that's open where you can go see in ancient archaeological sites in Texas, that's it. But there are just tons of ancient sites scattered across Texas, but almost all of them are either hidden or on private property and covered up, much in the way the rock wall is. Here's a staggering figure for you. The state of Texas has a database where they've cataloged archaeological sites found in Texas, in the state of Texas. In the state of Texas alone, ladies and gentlemen, this should put the rock wall thing in perspective for you. Because I don't know that you can say this. I've looked, and I don't know that you can say this about any other state. Yes, I know it has a lot to do with the size of the state. But even Ohio, which is just, you throw a rock, you hit an ancient site there. It doesn't have what we have here. Now, again, this does not count the sites that haven't been found or ones that are still, covered up. These are just the ones the state of Texas has documented in their database. And according to the state of Texas, there are over 65,000 archaeological sites in the state of Texas. 65,000, folks. And like one you can go and actually see. I mean, if you could actually go and see these places, I would never have to even leave the state I can make 20 Lost Secrets movies, never even have to leave my own state, much less drive all over the fucking country going to all these other crazy places. So, yes. But I appreciate the person sending me that thing. And yes, I think it's kind of mildly interesting. But I'm just not interested in something that somebody made in the past 30, 40 years, Yeah, okay, some fucking bigwigs paid a bunch of money and flew some big stones out to some pasture in a field to make a circle so they could do their occult rituals in it. I mean, that's not real big news to me. Had this been, an ancient standing stone site or something, that'd be a different story, but as it were. So again, that's why it's kind of hard for me to get excited about something like that. We've got 65,000 archaeological sites across the state, and we got millions, just thousands, that are sitting on private property we can't get to. And of course, that's a continuation of the cover-up. Absolutely. Where seekers and spiritualists converge. Is there room for all these Yetis, UFOs, and Yoctavians on one volcano? As I approach Mount Shasta on Highway 89, the thick clouds slide away for a second to show its peak. In the same way that my first response to seeing a black bear is, what a big Labrador, my brain initially reaches for the everyday explanation, the mountaintop. must actually be a cloud. It's too many degrees above the horizon. It rises too steeply. It doesn't look the way mountains look. I crane my neck like I'm beholding a skyscraper. Holy shit, I say to the interior of my Kia. Poet and explorer Joaquin Miller more eloquently said, lonely as God and white as a winter moon. Mount Shasta starts up sudden and solitary from the heart of the Great Black Forest of Northern California. Shasta measures 14,162 feet tall, which is impressive but not anomalously so. The valley around it, however, lies just 3,600 feet above sea level, meaning that the mountain rises more than 10,000 feet in front of your face. It stands alone. Perhaps because of its strangeness, this dormant volcano has been a sacred site for thousands of years and continues to be so today. The town at its base has a population of just 3,300 people, but has been home to more than 100 different spiritual sects and 29 New Age businesses. But why? What about Shasta strums people's supernatural strings? The first recorded beliefs about the mountain come from 5 Native American tribes: the Shasta, Modoc, Wintu, Otsuwegi, and Klamath, who once inhabited the area. Some people believed all life began on Mount Shasta. Others claim reptilian creatures built cities in its interior. Others said that the god Skell had lowered himself from heaven to Shasta's summit to throw molten rocks at the spirit of the below world. In modern times, people believe that Bigfoot roams Shasta's slopes. Others say that the 8-foot-tall descendants of the lost city of Atlantis live inside the mountain in a crystal city named Telos. Others claim that UFOs refuel at the peak, or that mountain inhabitants called Yoctavians use sound to manipulate reality. People claim that Shasta is flush with energy vortices, that it sits on a ley line like Stonehenge, and that it wields a magnetic power, drawing people in and holding them emotionally captive. In Shasta's woods, the founder of a movement called I Am, Guy Ballard met an ascended master, a spiritual entity who considered Ballard a trained messenger and spoke through him. Yeah, supposedly they saw Count Germain, the Count of Saint Germain was seen up there. Count of Saint Germain, if you don't know about him, he's this guy. Been seen throughout history, all these major world events. He's like an immortal. According to teachings, the ascended masters who included Jesus himself used to be regular people, but underwent a series of progressively more awesome reincarnations. But how strange could it be, I wondered, which is how I find myself on a sunrise drive muttering expletives towards its summit. The parking area at the Panther Meadow trailhead, 7,400 feet up Shasta, has a fair number of Priuses with coexist bumper stickers. That's fucking funny. Oh man. God. If you drive a Prius seriously, oh God. It's the worst. The side of a bus painted with tune in and turn on the loveevolutionsolution.org. A gray-haired man in at least $500 of outdoor clothing leans against his subcompact and watches me adjust my backpack. She's hiding today, he says, throwing his chin toward the fog-wrapped summit. I say, she is, isn't she, despite my discomfort with gendering inanimate objects. The tendency to anthropomorphize may, in fact, be at the heart of superstitions about Shasta. Anthropologist Stuart Guthrie of Fordham University proposed that human beings tend to interpret ambiguous stimuli, a stick cracking in the woods, for instance, as coming from beings. We are primed by evolution to look out for agents because some lion's agency might lead it to attack us. Psychologist Justin Barron of Fuller Graduate School of Psychology gave a name. Blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck about the psychology. But psychologist this, blah, blah, blah. Fact of the matter is, portals to inside the inner cities and inner Earth are said to be located there. Just like at Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. And, I heard that for many years, and I didn't think there was much to it, until I kind of started getting into because I kind of, like most people, didn't think much about the inner Earth stuff or any of that stuff, till I started looking into the Lost Secret stuff, and it kind of started appearing evidence of this. But I do find it fascinating that around both Mount Shasta and Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, where both are set for these entrances into these inner worlds are to be found. This is where you find the largest sightings of these Yetis or Bigfoots or whatever they've got. When they're in Kentucky, they call it the Kentucky Dog Man, and it's some kind of chimera human-animal hybrid thing that's seen near the caves. And so that got me thinking, okay, well, there's a pattern here. I've always thought for years, just from the evidence, that these, creatures must be actually living inside of the earth, and they come out from time to time to look for food or, come to the surface occasionally, and that's when, people see them, and no one believes them because they don't come out that often. But, there's Mount Shasta. There's a reason why there's so many New Agers there, man. There's a lot of stuff has been seen there. Lots of UFOs. I really want to go there at some point and do some filming. But there's talks of some reality show that they want me to be involved with, where and believe me, this would not be like a documentary show or anything where they're trying to be serious about it. It would be a reality show, so it would mostly be staged. But they want to do something where like the hunt for inner Earth or something. Anyway, the producers have already been talking to me about it, and I did a read for them, and we did a Skype convo, and the team really likes me and all this stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. Because they started out by emailing me and saying, "Hey, would you like to go on an expedition to find inner Earth and find them, in Antarctica?" I was like, "Go fuck yourself! Absolutely fucking not." Why not? Because I don't really feel in the mood for a suicide mission. That's why. It's a suicide mission. If it wasn't a suicide mission, guess what? Some motherfuckers would have already done it. You get on a fucking plane, you fly to fucking St. Petersburg, Russia, and then you get on a big Russian icebreaker and travel out to the fucking middle of nowhere, and hopefully you find the fucking portal opening into inner Earth in Antarctica. And right about the time you do, right about the time you're getting there, I see it, boys. People stand up there with binoculars on. I see it. I see the entrance. Right about that time is about the time they deploy missiles on your ass. What's that sound? Are we singing? Boom! People have been trying to do this for many years. There's been Kickstarter campaigns and whatnot. They always meet their goal, and then it collapses and nothing happens. That's because, look, folks, they know what's there. They've known what's there since the days of Admiral Byrd. You think they're going to let some film crew or some independent people go out there and go in? No, absolutely not. And with the technology and global positioning and tracking, satellite imaging that they have now, it's even more difficult to do it. Now, if this had been 20 years ago, I would say it would have been much easier to go out and do something like this 20 years ago. But now, nah. But I did tell them, look, if you want to do this show, I'll be involved in it to a certain point. I'll go to Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, and we can go, do a show like we're going to look for the, entrance to inner Earth, and we can go to Mount Shasta, and we can do all these things. But, when it comes to going on, to look for the entrance in Antarctica, that's where I'm out. And instead of saying, well, okay, thanks anyway, Mr. Reeves, we'll find somebody else, which I was hoping they were going to say, they said, "Oh, that's great. What we'll do is we'll make it like a big dramatic exit when you leave, you know." And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Well, do I get to be like, fuck this, fuck you, fuck your dog, fuck all this old wood in here, fuck your mother, fuck your cat. I'm not fucking going, fuck you, I'm out." They were like, "Yeah, we'll make it like a big dramatic exit, like when we're getting ready to go on the Antarctic thing, and that's where you leave the show." And I'm like, "I'll go, yeah, great, pay me, show me the fucking money." So we'll see. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to do something like that, especially just for fun. You know, fun and money. I'll do it for that, and especially since they made it clear. Look, we're not. This is not a documentary show. We're not trying to go out and parade this like this is truth or something. But we just thought it would be interesting to, film what would happen if we sent people who were interested in going out and looking for these things to see what would happen if we, filmed the journey of that. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what else we have here. Does semen control a woman's behavior? Exposure may affect genes, hormones, and fertility. Really? So that old saying, "Suck it like it's got the antidote in it," may actually be true? I'll be damned. I'll be damned. It's Dave Navarro. I remember reading a story, I think back in like 2008 when I wasn't on the air very long, about this Israeli guy who got arrested and put in jail because he was going around telling women that his sperm had rejuvenating health properties and was like magical. So he was getting all these broads to just just guzzle gallons of his seed, believing it had magical properties. What's funny about it to me is that this guy got put in jail because these women told the authorities on it. But that's not what's funny about it. What's funny about it is that they actually did it thinking that they were stupid enough to do it and believe the guy. That's what's funny. Like, can you just imagine some old broad sitting around after a couple weeks going, "God, I'm fucking pissed at this asshole. You believe this? I drank like a gallon of his baby batter and I still got fucking wrinkles. Jesus." I'm calling the cops on this asshole. Oh, he got you too? Oh, how much did you drink? 2 gallons? Oh, fuck that, Betty. Let's call the fucking police on this asshole. Fuck this guy. Telling us his sperm has magical properties. You're the... Hey, you know what? I got to hand it to that guy. I mean, every man in the world, when they heard that story, went, "Motherfucker, beat me to the punch." Those bitches were just mad because they actually drank it, and they probably liked it too. So here you go, ladies. It looks like this stuff's good for you. So, next time a guy tells you to suck it like it's got the antidote in it, he may not be telling you a lie. First, we were told that the composition of semen could possibly help fight depression. Now, research suggests that male semen can affect the genes and behavior of females in other ways too. Really? So if she's in a bad mood, just throw a shot in her and all will be right with the universe? God, why didn't you tell me that a long time ago? Are you in a bad mood? Open your mouth. Now, God, that's crazy. British scientists have dubbed the phenomenon seminal signaling. Seminal signaling. That's my new band name right there. Say it is widespread in the animal world. Furthermore, the scientists found that one of the proteins is a master regulator of genes, and females exposed to it showed a wider range of changes in gene expression. Gene expression is a process by which specific genes are activated to produce a required protein to help the body function. These proteins go on to perform essential functions such as enzymes, hormones, and receptors, for example. Our finding came as a real surprise, said study leader Tracy Chapman. I got a fast car. Na, 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 I got a fast car. Gonna suck some semen down in my throat and make me feel real good. Not that Tracy Chapman. Oh, okay. Oh, that was going to be a real shot. Okay, never mind. Oh, my mama, we were young, driving in your car, swallowed semen in the backseat. No, I mean, no, never mind. Not that one. Wow. Really? So suck it like it's got the antidote in it, huh? Unfucking believable. Wow. So it's got proteins in it that perform essential functions in the female body's enzymes, hormones. Wow. So it's good for you. Boy, every man in the fucking planet right now is just grinning in ear to ear going, all right. Come on, girl. It's got the antidote in it. Are you hungry? You need some protein? Here, Daddy's got a protein shake for you. Come get it. Man, they shouldn't have told guys this. This is not going to make things good for you ladies. Seriously. You thought you had it bad already, ladies. I really feel bad for you now. Like, you ladies don't have enough to deal with us men already, you know? Cat calling and looking at your tits and your ass. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, ladies. I really wish they wouldn't have. I mean, the good thing is, you know, now at least when you do ingest that stuff, at least you're getting something out of it. I mean, other than just, you know, a salty stomachache. So just remember that, ladies. Remember every time you're swallowing down that creamy baby batter, that every time you swallow some of that man gravy, it actually is having good health effects for you. And guys, next time you tell her to suck it like it's got the antidote in it, remember, you won't be lying to her. I mean, that's dating material right there. Come on, baby. You know you want some of this. You know you need some protein. Especially if you find one that's a vegetarian or something. Oh man. Hey baby, I know you need your protein. You don't eat meat, but you sure like the bone, don't you? Yeah. Come get it. Wow, this is really bad news for women, seriously. You should not be telling guys that their semen is good for women and is actually helpful for them. Jeez Louise. I'm not making that up. That's a real actual news story. Strange conehead skeleton unearthed at Russia's Stonehenge. Elongated head was buried in tribal tradition 2,000 years ago. You know, I took one look at this picture and immediately was blown away by this because you can tell, and I know you guys are the same way. I know you've noticed this. You know, you guys have noticed that whenever you see these elongated skulls, you can always tell when you see one which ones are the result of, you know, cranial deformation where they elongate the skulls, you know, unnaturally. And you can always tell the difference between one of those and one that is a natural, real, actual elongated skull. And boy, this is one. And, you know, of course, there'll be people that say, oh, this is just somebody who, you know, elongated their skull naturally or whatever. But what's fascinating about this is this was found in Russia. Now, had this been found in the usual traditional places, these are found South America, that kind of thing, where both kinds have been found, you know, Brazil, Peru, I think that whole area of South America down there, they found skulls that are of the variety of obvious cranial deformation that was done with intent, but then they've also found ones, you know, in the same areas that are obvious that or naturally formed that way. And this being in Russia and being that they have never found any tribes or people that have existed in these areas that engage in cranial deformation makes this a huge story. A skeleton with an unusual shaped skull has been unearthed at a site known as Russia's Stonehenge. When images of the remains were first published, UFO enthusiasts rushed to claim they were proof that aliens had once visited Earth. But archaeologists revealed that they were the bones of a woman who lived almost 2,000 years ago and had an elongated skull because it was bound out of tribal tradition. Problem is, notice how they don't tell you, and you can go through the rest of this article and read it. They don't tell you or care to mention what tribe she would have been a part of, especially being found in that part of Russia. So, yeah, it's definitely been found right near these big, circles and whatnot, ancient archaeological sites. This is definitely a prize find. Amazing find. A couple of months ago, I got an email from somebody. Y'all might remember when I covered this, saying, I heard you say on your show that there you could just switch off and on aging in people and blah blah blah, and I said, well, they talk about that in the ancient texts. It said that the Anunnaki were able to switch in the humans switched off the long life and made us have shorter lifespans. And that I also said that they have been using that same terminology recently and saying that now they have found that, switches within DNA to turn or turn off or turn on diseases. And here it is again. They're using the same terminology again. So I didn't make this up. A person accused me of making it. You need to show me proof. That's not true, this and the other. I didn't make it up. Here it is. They're saying it again. It's in the news again. So whoever that person was, booyah, in your face. Have scientists found the key to eternal life? Discovery of how to switch off. There it is. Let me read it for you one more again. Have scientists found the key to eternal life? Discovery of how to switch off aging process in worms could lead to mechanism being delayed in humans. Scientists have discovered how to switch off, their terminology, not mine, the aging process, which could eventually lead to the mechanism being used in humans. The study of worms showed adult cells abruptly begin their downhill slide when they reach reproductive maturity. A genetic switch that allows aging to begin by turning off certain processes which protect cells within the body. And this is all coming. I've been talking about this for years. Technological feudalism, the have and the have-nots. If you got lots of money, you'll be able to pay to have the stuff switched off and you'll live a long time. If not, you won't. Same as the technological feudalism. And that's exactly what our next story is about. Lo and behold, look at that. Scientists say humans really could become immortal, like characters in the new film Selfless, but only if they're wealthy. There it is again. Zbigniew Brzezinski. Read his 1969 book, Between Two Ages, The Rise of the Technotronic Era. If you haven't ever read that book, read it. It'll blow your mind. He describes in there, he's really talking about the future and what's going to happen in the future, and he describes a presidential candidate in there, a presidential person who really sounds exactly like Obama to a T. And he wrote this book in 1969, and then you think about the fact that Brzezinski also was an advisor to Obama's campaign in 2008, and he specifically talks about the haves and the have-nots, and how in the future people would no longer work jobs to try to climb the corporate ladder to ascend to the upper echelons of the business world, and instead would work and do activities to gain money in order to be able to pay for technology that would be life extending. And that this would, by a direct result, cause a technologically feudalist country where eventually the more technologically afforded people would become a separate class over the people that couldn't afford it. And it's here. Immortality has some side effects. This is the sinister warning of Matthew Good, who gives an aging Ben Kingsley in the film's Selfless. The film follows a cancer patient who signs up for a medical procedure known as shedding that transfers his consciousness into the body of a healthy young donor. While the technology remains in the realm of science fiction, not really. Not really. Microsoft, see, again, these people who write these articles they may have college degrees and they may get paid, $100,000 a year to write for these newspapers, but they don't know as much as someone like me knows about this stuff. Folks, Microsoft admitted years ago that they have technology to be able to download your brain, your consciousness, into a computer and hold it there to be uploaded to something. Now, of course, we don't have that we know of, have the technology to upload it yet, but they can already do admit to having technology where they can basically take your consciousness and download it into a computer. We just aren't to the point where we can transfer it into something yet. I would see immortality coming from the biological sector, said University of Arizona researcher Wolfgang Fink. If you manage somehow to prevent cell death from happening, or if you extend the lifespan of cells beyond their natural lifespan. And this article really doesn't say much. But there's 4 or 5 articles a day now. There was another one I saw today. Where they're going to use technology to basically extend life, bring immortality, but it's not going to be available to everybody. And it's going to be only available to the elite and to the people who are willing to exist within the criminal system the way that the powers that be and the intelligentsia want you to exist. If you're someone who wants to live outside of that world, you're not going to have access to that. And that's how they're going to separate the wheat from the chaff, ultimately. Is people who don't want to take the life extension technology, people who don't want to merge with machines and become transhumanist, those are going to be seen as outsiders. And they're going to become enslaved by the people that do choose to take these things. And that's the plan. And Brzezinski talked about that being the plan in 1969. And let me tell you something. When I first started getting into researching this stuff, I read my first Brzezinski book about 15, 16 years ago. It was before 9/11. And I went, this motherfucker, like, why have I heard so much about this guy? Like, this motherfucker doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, this stuff is all saying, he's predicting all this stuff is going to happen. None of this stuff has happened. And then 9/11 happened. And then I started seeing all the things that happened after 9/11 and all. And I started, oh my God, he predicted all of that. The Geostrategic Triad, that's another one of his books. And that's when I realized is that the guy, he's one of those people, he's so high upper level in the echelons of power that he knows exactly how, he's so plugged in that he can write books about things that aren't going to happen for 40 or 50, 60 years. And nobody bats an eye about it when he puts it out, because anybody that reads it just thinks it's speculation, or like me, well, he must have missed the mark on that. He said this and this was going to happen. No, we just haven't gotten there yet. If you go back and read his works, and you're talking about the guy who there's pictures of him with Osama bin Laden. I mean, the guy who created Al-Qaeda, the phony system. It's just unbelievable. That guy's one of the highest level. I don't believe he's human either. There's a lot of people that say he's not human. He's like 90-something, still kicking it like Kissinger, and they got the life extension. Ancient huts may reveal clues to Earth's magnetic pole reversals. They're kind of starting to mention this a little bit more, since the sun is going through a magnetic pole reversal, and it will affect the Earth, but not in a cataclysmic way like some people have said. The fiery demise of ancient huts in southern Africa 1,000 years ago left clues to understanding a bizarre weak spot in the Earth's magnetic field and the role it plays in the magnetic pole's periodic reversals. patches of ground where huts were burned down in South Africa contain a key mineral that recorded the magnetic field at the time of each ritual burning. Those mineral records teach researchers more about a weird, weak patch of Earth's magnetic field called the South Atlantic Anomaly and point the way toward a possible mechanism for sudden reversals of the field. It has long been thought reversals start at random locations, but our study suggests this may not be the case. Data from the hut suggests that strange, weak patches form and then decay away. It forms and it decays away, and eventually one might form and get really large, and then we might actually have a geomagnetic reversal. The South Atlantic Anomaly is a dent in Earth's shield against cosmic radiation 124 miles above the Earth. It may be the most dangerous place on the Earth's sphere for satellites and spacecraft to traverse because anything electronic traveling through it is vulnerable to strong radiation from space and tends to malfunction. Even the Hubble Space Telescope takes no measurements when passing over the anomaly. It's an area where instead of pointing outward, part of the Earth's magnetic field actually ushers energetic particles down instead of repelling them, weakening the overall field in the area, and it has been growing. Some have postulated that the Earth's magnetic field is leaking out the wrong way at that particular spot. Rory Cottrell, a geologist also at the University of Rochester and co-author of the new paper, told Space.com, one theory is that changes in the South Atlantic Anomaly could be responsible for the decrease in the overall magnetic field that we're seeing, because these patches are growing and changing over time. Many researchers have speculated that this kind of anomaly is temporary, caused by changes in the flow within the Earth's outer iron core, which generates the planet's magnetic field. Such anomalies in weakening the magnetic field may bring the Earth closer to a magnetic reversal when the magnetic north and the south poles on Earth switch places, rearranging the magnetic field over the course of 1,000 to 10,000 years, although it can happen faster. The process generally happens every 200,000 to 300,000 years, and yeah, we're way overdue for one. After the magnetic field weakens enough, but the last magnetic field reversal occurred 780,000 years ago. Oh, we're way overdue then. Wow. So they generally happen every 200 to 300,000 years, but we haven't had one in 780,000 years. Well, that's strange, isn't it? Makes you wonder why. Modern magnetic records only stretch back for the last 150 years or so. And within that time frame, researchers have seen the Earth's magnetic field rapidly decrease in intensity. But the researchers used the Iron Age remnants of African villages to extend their view even farther back, from AD 1000 to AD 1850. And the record reveals that the South Atlantic Anomaly was going strong at that time too. Throughout that time, the inhabitants of ancient African villages would burn down the huts and grain bins in their villages on a regular basis, giving scientists key, consistent data throughout that time period. They had this ritualistic burning of villages, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you said that already. And yes, you don't have to, I hate when they tell you the same fucking thing 50 times in an article. We get it. You can tell about magnetic reversals because of these huts. We get it. We're not, I know not all of us are high-functioning retards. All right. That's going to do it for the show tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and being with us. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. Go and get yourself a download of my new audiobook there. And get yourself a subscription to the archives or contribute to our contest that we're having for our Global Reality July 2015 operating costs. We have to have our whole amount that we need in here for that by Friday. And we've got a great prize package for the person who donates the most. And I want somebody special to get it. So please contribute. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you. And we'll see you next time. Take care.